Are you someone who is suffering from symptoms associated with ADHD or know someone who is, and you're exploring some healthy alternative solutions, and you've run across a term of frequencies and wonder if frequencies is something that can help you, then you're in the right place, because that's what I'm going to share today. Hi, my name is Lisa Garcia. I'm an integrative developmental and educational specialist, and my focus is helping you to reverse the learning and behavior challenges that your child is experiencing. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about how frequencies can help with ADHD and related symptoms. So first, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you'll know right away when I post the next video. So frequencies, we're going to talk about frequencies in a couple of different ways, but they can be used for ADHD and be a useful tool to improve concentration and to provide relief from some of the symptoms. And so the first one we're going to talk about is like brain entrainment using binaural beats. It's an audio program designed specifically for those with ADHD and can be listened to usually 20 to 40 minutes a day. But just to explain what a binaural beat is, I'm just going to be reading this definition. A binaural beat is an auditory illusion perceived when two different pure tone sine waves, both with frequencies lower than 1500 hertz, with less than a 40 hertz difference between them, are produced to a listener dichotically. That's one through each ear. So for example, if there's 530 hertz tone in one ear and 520 hertz tone in another ear, the listener will perceive the auditory illusion of a third tone in addition to the two pure tones, which is presented to each ear. And the third sound is called a binaural beat. So when you're listening to anything that says binaural beat, you need to be having headphones that is capable of putting two different sounds, or the way it's wired. You can have one tone in one ear and one tone in the other ear, but it can't be ambient, otherwise it doesn't have the same effect. And it's actually a perceived illusion that's created when you listen to the two tones simultaneously. So in other words, when your ADHD brain picks up on the two tones that have different frequencies, a third auditory illusion is created, and that is, again, the binaural beat. So binaural beats can make people with ADHD feel like they've entered an altered state of consciousness, kind of like meditation, and so I think that's why people like it. Some headphones that would be good would be like the Sennheiser HD 280. I actually have exactly those right here. So these are the Sennheiser HD 280. So they look kind of like this. And so if you have a really good pair of headphones, then you know that you can use them to listen to your binaural beats. So for the first, I'm going to share, this is called the David Alert. I don't even know if they have the David Alert anymore. They have the David Alive, but it's like, it looks this, similar. It's maybe a different color. I've had this for quite a while, but this is by Mind Alive. So if you go to mindalive.com or something, you will find this. And what this is a brain entrainment. You use this, so you hook up your headphones to it, and you hook up this visual, these visors. They look like this, and they give you light pulsing. And you would think that would be, some people don't like it, but it's actually not. It's not really shining in your eyes. It's light, but because it's behind this covering, it's not like super bright or anything, but it's this pulsing. So it's sending pulsing signals into your eye, and you are hearing the tones, the pulsing tones in your ears. And there's different settings on this, and it comes with a booklet. There's actually a whole book that was written on it that I read first. It was a downloadable PDF, and actually it was a regular book too. Let me just go see if I can grab that. Okay. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the book. I evidently wasn't as prepared for this video as I thought I was. But there is a book that I will find and just put a link if the link is still available, if it's still downloadable. And it's basically talking about using this specifically for ADHD. So it's when I had my kids use it, we used it at night, and it actually does put you to sleep. Even though there's lights, but it does put you to sleep. So when it was, I would just notice when it was off, and then I would take it off the kids. I had one student whose mom purchased it, and she was using it for her child, and he was extremely hypersensitive, and he didn't show any emotion, like he wasn't like loving to the, like didn't hug the mom or whatever. But after he did this, he did start doing that, and to her that was just that all by itself was a big difference. But there was a big difference in his sensitivity. So he wasn't necessarily ADHD, he had a lot of other things going on, but we saw some really nice improvements. So that's a very interesting program. And then when we're looking at, then we can look at frequency specific. So you can just Google now on YouTube. There's tons. If you just say frequencies for ADHD YouTube or something like that, you will just hear tones that you can listen to ambiently. Some will say put headphones, some will, you don't have to. And you just, and it'll be like pure tones. And then you listen to that for like the 20 minutes or however long it is. You can just have it in your environment. And those are pretty powerful too. So that's a different type of frequency. So the first one was binaural beats, and that one's more like a combination or pure tones. And then the third one is Rife frequencies. So this is like a traditional Rife machine. There's a lot of different Rife machines. Dr. Rife was a doctor who, he's not alive anymore, but a long time ago, earlier in the 1900s, he actually discovered that you can take frequencies, and if you find the exact right frequencies, it can kill pathogens, because those pathogens are that frequency. So you're matching frequencies. You know how like a singer, when they get to a certain frequency, when they sing, they can shatter glass. So it's hitting that right, that correct frequency. And anyway, so the Rife machine, you can usually program whatever frequencies that you want, and you plug it in, and you might have like these wrist bands that it will send the frequencies to, or a mat. There's a little mat, however you want to receive. So these frequencies are not by sound. These are like pulsing frequencies. And I kind of didn't like this particular machine just because when I was using it, like if you use it like on your bare back, sometimes you'd feel these like little prickly, and I don't know, I didn't like it, but sometimes I didn't. So I think it had to do which frequencies were programmed in, which would determine like if I were able to feel it or not. There's other, really, if I had to do it over, when I was searching for this, I spent way more on this than I would have if I would have purchased a Spooky 2. And so there's one called Spooky 2, and that one, it's not so simple and compact like this, but all you can do with this one is program frequencies and receive. The Spooky can also scan. It can scan you for frequencies. You can program protocols, and you can, there's different ways that it can emit the frequencies. There's a lot of different machines out there, but single frequencies, well, I shouldn't say single frequencies, but so if you look up, go on Google, you can look up like Rife frequencies for ADHD, and then you probably will find a list of different ones. I actually have a book, a frequency book, and in the book it just has lists depending on like all the different disorders or problems, and then you can find several frequencies, and then you can use them to program into something like this. But there's a lot of machines out there. So you have binaural beats, so it's more of an auditory frequency, and that has one type of effect. You have like kind of single tones or a combination, but you don't have to listen to them on the earphones, but it is still sound. And just because frequency is sound doesn't mean it has to be loud to hear it, because there's a difference between loudness and frequency. So the frequencies, a lot of times you can put them, let's say you were able to download a frequency onto your iPod or phone or something, or actually from your phone. So you have like the YouTube, and you have the frequency for ADHD, whatever it is. And instead, let's say you don't want to listen to it, but you want your body to still receive it, you can take headphones and just put it on any part of your body, and your body is still receiving the frequency. So you can kind of play around with different ways to receive them depending on what type it is. And then we have things like Rife machines. There's a lot of different kind of Rife machines, and those are again, they're not audible frequencies, but they are still the frequencies. And what they're doing is they're looking to match your what it is, let's say, that you want to equalize. Okay. And usually it's going to be something like a pathogen or a toxin, but not necessarily. And you know what? Homeopathy works on the same way. So in homeopathy means like treats likes, which is in the same principle. And you take a homeopathic remedy that is going to match your symptom, and then so those frequencies are going to basically kind of neutralize themselves out. So for example, you have a high fever. Belladonna is a plant that if you were to eat it, I guess, or ingest it somehow, it would cause a high fever. So they've basically diluted the belladonna plant so many times that it's just now the frequency. And then they store it either in a pellet or in a water that can hold that frequency. And then when you take it, you're not taking the actual plant, but you're taking just the frequency from that plant or from whatever the substance is. And if it matches what you have, which would be in that case a high fever, then that's what will neutralize and make your fever come down. So homeopathy is also a good way. And you can find books, you can Google books on using homeopathy to treat ADHD, autism, or maybe if you even have something else, finding out how homeopathy. So this wasn't really supposed to be about homeopathy, but at the last minute I realized, you know what, homeopathy totally works on the premise of frequencies itself. Okay, so look in the description below, because I will try to put links to the things that I have mentioned. And make sure that you subscribe so you know when all my new content is coming out. And until then, I'll see you next time.